Hello everybody, I welcome you to this special lecture which is about a topic which is very important in economics. It's about linearization. So let me explain it in the following videos what the topic and the problem is about and how we will solve it. So first of all, you all know that in economics we have curves, supply and demand curves. So in the simplest case, you already know from microeconomics, there is, as you see here, two curves. Let's say in economics we have price and quantity. And the curves are downward sloping, which could be a demand curve, and we have an upward sloping curve, which could be a supply curve, and then we have here an equilibrium point. And look, these curves are nonlinear. Yeah, there could be something, the demand curve, a 1 over x curve, and the supply curve could be an x squared curve. So in order to study the equilibrium point, we have to calculate the intersection. But finding the intersection of nonlinear curves is sometimes relatively hard to do. And studying the environment around the equilibrium is also difficult. So what we often do in economics is basically we linearize these curves. And what we do, we say, okay, let's find just the linear tangent point on the supply curve, and let's find a linear curve that is tangent on the equilibrium point of the demand curve, and then we have a kind of supply and demand curve which are linearized around the equilibrium point. And finding the intersection of two lines, well, that's easy to do, right? You just equate the two lines and you find the x for the quantity and the p for the price. But how can we find the linearized red curves around the steady state? Well, this is what this lecture is about. So in principle, what we do a linearization around the steady state, and that is done by, and that is my first definition, let's call it definition 1. It's done by the so-called Taylor series approximation, what you already know from mathematics. So it's a Taylor series approximation method we will use here in order to find the linearization around the steady state. The steady state is another word for equilibrium. As we know in dynamic models, as we study in macroeconomics, we have dynamic models dependent on t, and then we call it a steady state and not anymore an equilibrium. Suppose the steady state point is a point, let's call it x0. So how can we do it? Well, the Taylor series approximation basically tells us the following. And let's first do a first order approximation. Well, the first order approximation looks as follows. We have a function, f of x, which is nonlinear, and now we linearize it by the following form. We take the function at our steady state point, plus we take the first derivative of this function at my steady state point. We multiply it with the difference of my current observation from steady state, x0, and then we are basically finished, but when we follow up this Taylor approximation, we get higher order terms. And these higher order terms are assumed to be very low, actually very small, and therefore thorough. And that is captured by this O term at the end. So this would be the formula of a first order Taylor series approximation. In a moment we do some examples. Of course, we can also do a second order, and then we take into account second order effects, some nonlinearity actually we will take into account. Well, this is actually follows the same principle. So we want to approximate my function f of x, which is nonlinear. Then we start from a point x0, which is my equilibrium point, or some special point which I want to study. Then we take the first derivative at this point times the gap between my variable and my equilibrium point. And in a second order approximation, now we take into account the second derivative, which is according to Taylor 1 over 2 second derivative at this point x0, and then the gap from my x point to my steady state points is squared. And then of course we have again the higher order terms, the third derivative, fourth, and so on, and these derivatives again are assumed to be 0 or very small and therefore 0. That is this term capturing, that are so-called higher order terms. So the higher order terms. Higher order terms assumed to be 0. So these are the two formulas, and this is the definition you should always keep in mind when we talk about linearization. Sometimes in books you will find a variant of this definition. For instance, you can say, let's define, so these terms here, let's define delta x is define my true x from steady state point x0, right? So that is what I can do. And of course I can rearrange this. This is simply my x, if I bring the x0 on the other side, is my delta x plus my x0. So in some books you will find for the formula of the Taylor series the following formula. We have a function f, and it's now from x, but for x I can write delta x plus my point x0, which is my reference point. And then of course it's a function at my reference point x0 plus the first derivative at my reference point x0 times delta x, because this is delta x, so this corresponds of course. And if we do a second order Taylor series, then we have 1 over 2 second derivative of x0 times my delta x squared plus the higher order terms. So if I would number, this is my equation 2, this is my equation 3, and this is my equation 3 here on the bottom. And these are important formulas you should keep in mind. In fact, these formulas are so important that they also play a crucial role in AI, in artificial intelligence, which is working with neural networks. And in my next video, I give you some theoretical background how this Taylor series approach is also used in big data, in artificial intelligence. In my third video, I will do some explanations and some examples.